Thank you. Thank you, everyone. First off, give it up for Yellow Cab Tavern for the roof over our head and the air conditioning tonight. Thank them. Give it up for the four pillars. Jonathan's out on special assignment, but we have Morgan, Aisha, and Link here. We would not be here if it wasn't for them, and it's more than just tonight. They volunteer their times for the YouTube, the website, everything, so please. My name's Stephen M. Wuebker. I was told I need to promote. I've got an upcoming feature at Blue Sky Coffee. Thank you. Poet Barbie is going to be joining me. And it's an open mic, so please, everyone, come out and support Blue Sky. They're doing great things, not only with poetry, but music and art as well. So, So, again, as I like to say, it's been a while. Welcome to Sunday evening service up in the house of our words. This is a Sunday evening sermon. I could begin with a poem. I could maybe read one of my own. Maybe you don't know me, perchance. I could talk about how this house of words is sacred on a Sunday night. I could talk about the snaps that keep this space and its poets buoyant. I could talk about this stage and how sacred it is to some, to most of us. I could talk about gazing upon this stage. I could talk about gazing from this stage. I could talk about the painful confessions and tears that come forth. I could talk about the confirmations, affirmations, and tears of joy. I could maybe even talk about a proposal if that's ever happened. I could talk about all the smiles, all the laughter, and a lot of happiness. I could talk about how all are welcome on this stage in this house of poetry. I could talk about how it is expected to come with respect, and that is all that is asked. I could talk about how no one is any more important than anyone else. I could talk about how everyone is just as important as everyone else. I could talk about an album by Jane's Addiction from the late 80s called Nothing Shocking. I could talk about how nothing really is anymore. Just remember that term, respect. I could talk about the number of hugs that are handed out here every single time. I could talk about if you need one of those hugs, or an ear, or a shoulder. I will tell you that you have found the right place for that, if you need it. I could talk about keeping sacred spaces sacred. I could talk about how to keep them from tarnishing. I could talk about 1,000 other things. I could talk about any and all of that, but I'm not going to. As any good preaching poet knows when preaching their poem, the congregation congregating already understands how to conjugate, and the opening sermon should serve the expectant masses in poetic form. The repeating repetitiveness of repetition and repeats only strive to drive the points home, rhyming be damned. And as with any congregation of saints, saviors, sinners, and especially poets, the sermon should always be poetic, even if it is the opening poem. That's the Sunday evening sermon. My name is Stephen M. Wuebker, and thank you so much for listening.